Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. It's Chamber Check-in time, and I'm so excited to learn more about Talent Spark. Talent Spark is a regional talent recruitment agency based out of Boise, Idaho. And today I have Stephanie Parker and Allison Cunningham. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I can't wait to share and learn a little bit more about Talent Spark. But first, I get to thank our series sponsor for these check-ins, Delta Dental of Idaho. Allison and Stephanie, Delta Dental, they've been providing high quality dental benefits to Idahoans for over 50 years. Their programs are backed and designed by the largest network of dentists in the country. And with that, I get to show a fun factoid from their Tooth Truth series.
Ooh, that's hard to say.
That's a tongue twister. Say that again.
So with Delta Dental, our benefits are based on calendar year, and that's per person on the plan. Every January, you get a new annual maximum to use towards your dental care for that year. If your company enrolls on our plan mid-year, we're going to credit your deductibles, and we'll start your annual max over again.
Thank you, Delta Dental. And with that, I get to introduce owner and founder Stephanie Parker. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Paul. Thank you, Delta Dental. They've actually been my dental provider for all 20 years that I've lived in Idaho. So got a personal connection.
That's awesome. And Allison Cunningham.
Hi.
Hey, we're excited. These chamber check-ins are great ways to share about our chamber member businesses and especially the people behind them. So why don't we start it off a little bit about that before we dive into the origin story of Talent Spark. So Allison, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Well, I've always been in recruiting. I don't know if that was my plan after college, but I stumbled into my first job as a recruiting coordinator in Denver 15 years ago, and I just fell in love with the function, and I've never left. It's hard to kind of imagine leaving that. I love the ability to kind of get to know all of the different backgrounds of people and make that connection between them. So worked in Denver and Chicago, and locally I was at St. Luke's, which is where I met Stephanie in there, and sort of the start of Talent Spark started in that space. But I've worked in sort of all Fortune 500 companies, from engineering to biopharma to telecom, and now get to work across all industries. So that's a little of my background and a slight hint of how Talent Spark started and where I met Steph at St. Luke's.
Awesome. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about your background.
Allie and I actually have very similar backgrounds, and that's why we often dress alike. Like to show up these things dressed exactly the same. So myself, kind of like Allison, I've been a career recruiter. Paul, I've done this. It's hard to believe it's 25 years. I actually think it's probably 26 this year. I am one of those strange people who was lucky enough to fall into a career right after graduating from college. I went to the University of Oregon, so go Ducks, and have recruited in a lot of different industries: healthcare, aviation, technology. And it's still a thrill for me to match companies and people together. And so, yeah, that's my background. And about 5 years ago, we decided that there was a need in Idaho for a local recruiting firm. And that's sort of the origin of where Talent Spark got started.
Okay, that's exactly a great segue into talking more about Talent Spark. Do you want to dive into a little bit more about the origin of Talent Spark?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. So I have recruited in the Boise Valley for 20 years. So of those 26 years, 20 years have been in the Valley. And I've been fortunate to recruit for a lot of the big brands in town. So some of our most significant major employers in the Valley. And on occasion, we would need to go to an external headhunting firm or recruiting firm to recruit for maybe a high-level position, a niche position, something like that, because we did not have anybody local who had the capabilities and the expertise to do that. So we sort of noticed that there was a need in the market, but the straw that broke the camel's back was we had a pretty significant recruitment happening, and we sent the recruitment to a recruiter on the East Coast, and he sent a resume over. And it was not evident why the candidate was a good fit or interested in coming to Idaho. So I asked the question directly, why is she interested in coming to Boise? And he said, she's a Harley Davidson enthusiast. And we said, well, cool. Again, why Boise? And he said, it puts her closer to Sturgis. Do you know where Sturgis is, Paul?
No.
It's in South Dakota.
Right, exactly.
It's nowhere near us. And so on further exploration, this is a God honest true story. He was pitching Boise, Iowa. And we just, it felt sort of disrespectful, to be honest, that a recruiter didn't care enough to identify the geography. And you pull that thread a little bit more and you think, how are they going to care for the recruiting needs of our Idaho-based companies? And so that was really kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. That's we've got a need here in this market for somebody who respects and knows the needs of our Idaho employers. And that really is kind of the origin of where things started. So originally it was just me. The company opened in 2016. It was our first year. We just celebrated our 5th year, and Allison came on board year 3 and the company has gotten infinitely bigger and better since she came on board as a partner.
Well, thank you. That is a great story. And it really tells about the factual based stuff that people don't really know where Idaho is, and they confuse it with Ohio and Iowa. So thank you for sharing that. That's a perfect theme for my next question with Allison. Talk about and share more of the direct services that Talent Spark provides its clients.
Yeah, happy to. Thank you. We've got really 2 sides of our business in there. The first half is probably the area that people are more familiar with, which is around our searches, which Steph shared a little bit about. And that's really where, companies that are either looking for talent in Boise or here, in the Idaho area, have a hard to fill role, a strategic position, and they want to make sure that they're getting the best quality candidates and getting candidates that are beyond the job board. We know at any given time on job boards, there's 3% unemployment right now. And so that really only gives you access to that kind of small pool of people that are spending their Friday night looking at Indeed, which is not everyone's idea of a fun afternoon. So we really help those companies to reach out to those 70% of people that are open to a new job if the right opportunity came available. So that's kind of one of our sides of the business. We help people to really, increase the quality of their candidate pools, help them to hire better, faster, and with more confidence in that space. Because our team has so much experience, we can kind of help them along on there. The other side of our business, internally, it's known in the industry as RPO, or recruiting process outsource. But a better way to think of it is that it's interim recruiting support on the internal side. And this is an area that really started early on with Talent Spark. And essentially what we do, because we have so much experience on our team as recruiters, is that we can step in turnkey into an internal organization, and we just show up and we help them for an interim amount of time, whether it's a maternity leave, a short hiring spike, some seasonality in their hiring, and we help them with the ebbs and flows. And we've really seen that business expand quite a lot in the last year or two, because I think that the market has gotten so challenging for a lot of employers.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of pent up demand from people pausing or waiting to hire in 2020. So that's been a real need that we've seen in the last year. We've sort of seen an increase in that side of our business. So that's a little bit of the 2 main sides there. And, generally we try to work with companies of all sizes, from our largest employers in the state in there. And we often get questions from some of our small employers like, hey, we know you help the the big industrial, enterprise-wide, do you help small businesses? And our goal is really to try to, put solutions together for all of the Idaho-based companies in there. And we love helping companies of all sizes, including the small businesses, because we are one. So we know how important the hiring is when you're a small team.
That's awesome. Allison, you mentioned a couple of things, and you mentioned it a couple times about the excellent quality of your talent on your team. I was looking at your website the other day to just dig and find some more information about you guys. And every About Us person has been in the industry for more than 10 years. And collectively, I added up maybe 50 plus years of experience. Stephanie, tell us about your team.
Yeah, it's the best part of who Talent Spark is, really, truly. And I think it should provide employers a lot of comfort to know that they've got the expertise right here in the community, really experienced recruiters who have trained at Fortune 500 companies, who have worked at some of, sort of best in class recruiting organizations. And we are now able to take that experience and help our Idaho companies do the same. So we've got 8 people on our team, Paul. We're very proud of them. And, as you had noted, most of them are very, very experienced recruiters, so that we can help companies, whether they need executive level help or entry level help, we can really help span the gamut for them.
Okay, that's also something that's so important with having a successful business is the people that are a part of it, right? So thanks for sharing a little bit about that. Now let's go back to Allison and Stephanie, kind of both of you guys. Tell us more about your guys' community investment. Tell us about the causes that are passionate that you guys are passionate about.
Al, if you don't mind, maybe I will start that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
We just feel so grateful every day, Paul, that we have been able to put together this thriving business, in large part because we've been supported by the larger business community. So, thank you to the Chamber, thank you to BVEP, who have sort of wrapped us up in love and supported our efforts and really helped us grow over the last several years. So some things that are near and dear to our heart are supporting other entrepreneurs. We are supporters of Trailhead. We are members of the Women Chamber of Commerce. These are areas that are near and dear to us because we are those things. And we know that small business is the backbone of a thriving economy. And so small business, empowering entrepreneurs, helping people give tools, helping people get the courage to maybe start their own business. Those are things that are very important to us. Allie and I both serve on boards. I'll let her talk about her board work. I'm part of the executive team of City of Good, which is a Boise nonprofit that was started during the pandemic that put restaurant workers back to work, utilizing the kitchen to build boxes for hungry kids. Fabulous organization. I also serve as the president of our local HR chapter. So those are a couple of my extracurricular activities and things that are near and dear to me.
That's great.
So Allison, tell us some of those that you're passionate about and involved with.
Yeah, she did a good job of kind of summarizing. We just love being part of our community because we're so dependent on this community. If our community does well, then we do well. And we've got such a direct tie-in. I also am on the HR committee of the Idaho Youth Ranch, which is an organization that I think a lot of people are familiar with. In there, we sponsor their annual fundraiser as well. But I am so proud to sit on their HR committee and help them with some of their HR initiatives that they have. And I'll kind of put a plug that they're going to have a big hiring initiative coming up in 2022. They're going to open their new ranch, out there in Canyon County that we're just thrilled by. So I think there'll be more information sort of coming from them, and I'm just thrilled to be sort of a part of that as well. We mentioned BVEP is there. I now sit on the board of directors at the Boise Valley Economic Partnership, which is new, and I'm very excited to be involved in as well. yeah, it's just great. We love being able to connect business and the connection with the chamber as well. So it's a good fit in that space.
Okay, so for everybody's watching, here is the website for Talent Spark. Also, give them a call if you're in need of any staffing help. I think that's what we've been talking about this past several months. It seems to be the issue with every single business. What business are you seeing the most need for that you're able to help with? And either Allison or Stephanie can take that. Or
Maybe
what industry, I guess.
Maybe I'll start. I think that there's the most pressure in the hourly space right now.
Yep.
Everybody who is looking for sort of the $15 an hour to $21 an hour employee, the competition is fierce, Paul. And I've been doing this a long time. We have not seen a candidate market quite like this. There's just so many options. I was talking to actually an HR guy at one of the bigger employers here in Boise. They have a monthly class for a call center, and they had 25 accepted offers out. By the time the class started, they had 8 people show up.
Wow.
And this is the way it's going. So it's taking 3-4 times the effort to actually get somebody to start. And I know if anybody's paying attention, if anybody's on live right now or listening, I know that there'll be a lot of head shakes because that pain is very acute right now. There's way more need than there are workers. And there's been some chatter that some of this pressure is coming from unemployment, people being on the sidelines and staying on unemployment. But it was interesting, and Allie, correct my stats if I get this wrong. 2 months ago, there were 30,000 people on unemployment in the state of Idaho. So we're talking local data, and there were 80,000 positions posted. So if every single person who was on unemployment took one of those jobs, we'd still have a delta of 50,000 openings. So I think we've just got a situation where we've got way more need than people. And those employers that sort of pumped the brakes during the pandemic, paused, freezed hiring, we're now seeing kind of experiencing this compounding effect because they were behind, basically before they were ready to start again, if that makes sense. So a lot of pressure in that non-exempt space, but it's across industries. There's not a single industry that is not feeling this, and it's actually all up and down, the different levels of employees. We're having a tough time finding accountants and HR people as well. So there's a lot of pressure at all the different levels. Allie, what did I miss?
Yeah, I think you had a really great summary. I think that the other part of that is that we know that there's been an increased demand in the number of jobs, year over year, the number of postings. When we looked about a year ago, there were closer to 50,000 positions posted that have moved up to 80,000. So I think, the big story is that there's just more jobs than there are people right now. And so it's taking a lot of different, innovation and rethinking from organizations in order to be able to attract talent into their organization and retain talent in there and get people who stepped out of the workforce in 2020 to entice them back, into the workforce in that capacity as well. So it's, I would say certainly anyone who's feeling the pain of hiring right now you're not alone, in there, but we're happy to kind of talk through solutions and things of what that looks like with anybody.
I was at a educational seminar for lunch today, and it's from a real estate professional organization. And they were telling me that there's average of 106 people moving here a day on average. So how are we, how do we funnel those folks that are coming in to the available positions? You may or may not know anything about that, but is there anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think, it is interesting because we do have we are one of the fastest growing metros and one of the fastest growing states, in the nation. And I think it feels like there should be this influx of work, but I think we're still outpacing it by the demand for jobs. So I think there are people moving here that are filling it. I think we also have the increased pressure of remote work. And so we are finding that a lot of people that are moving here are coming already employed for positions that are outside of the Idaho area. So we will have the opportunity to attract some of that new talent, to say now would be a good time. Maybe you thought you liked remote work and you'd like to be more at a local company, but I think that's a slower, the needle moves a little slower on that space, because I think we are finding that companies are competing not just within the Boise Valley anymore, and they're competing with companies, from Atlanta to San Francisco to Kansas City because of the remote work. And so there's also increased pressure just from the way that work has changed because of the pandemic.
That is so true. Okay. Hey, I want to make sure I honor your time today. And I want to thank you for your investment with us and investment in this community, helping people, helping industries find talent. And thank you so much, you guys.
Oh, thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure to be here. We really appreciate the opportunity.
And one last thing, I was reading this today.
Oh no!
And, let's see, what page are we on
it's
here?
My favorite.
Gotta do a quick shout out to page 44. Miss Stephanie Parker.
Oh my God, do you have my middle school yearbook as well? Or what else are we going to show and tell?
Congratulations.
No, it was a very big honor. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys, thanks for checking in with me. Have a great weekend. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks,
everyone.